Hello and welcome to the Kaijus in the Details, a chronological examination of the Kaiju film. I'm Ian.
Haru.
And this time we watched a British, I guess technically a little bit American co-production, mostly British production though, Gorgo. What do you think of this film, Haru?
It was kind of a roller coaster for me, but I think it had a strong ending.
I am of two minds about this one, just like last time. At once, it is, I think, a monster film that swings for the fences in a lot of stuff, particularly its theming, which I really appreciate. But at the other time, on the other hand, it is, it's weird that it goes so hard in so many ways, and yet also ends up a little bit boring.
Yeah.
It's like it's lackadaisical is like the best way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
It never feels like it's in a rush. Even in the disaster scenes, it really never feels like it's ever in a rush.
I don't have anything to add that.
Yeah.
It for a while there I kind of wondered like what this kaiju film is adding to the kaiju. I don't know what the right term
Canon.
is here. Like what's really being added here, because it's kind of like
It's if you put Godzilla and King Kong in a blender. It's
it's like if instead of bringing King Kong back to New York, they brought Godzilla back to London. Like,
well, it's like if you brought King Kong to London and then Godzilla came to save King Kong.
yeah,
Because that's basically what happens. Is like they have a King Kong story with Gorgo, and then Ogra, the parent version of Gorgo, comes in Godzilla style to save Gorgo from the circus. Because they literally sold Gorgo to the circus.
Yeah.
The most evil thing you could possibly imagine, they did.
And yeah, like that, like the introduction of the second bigger kaiju, the mama, coming in to save her young. That was like kind of okay, they're doing something interesting here.
Yeah, like I like the bait and switch of like, here's your kaiju, it's not very big, and then no, actually, you're gonna get a giant kaiju.
Yeah, the one that you brought home, that was just a baby.
Like that's a fun twist. I wish it was delivered with any sort of urgency at all.
Yeah.
I just like, I feel like maybe a tighter edit would have saved this film.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a slightly tighter edit that was like gave it a little bit more urgency, a little bit more motion, and it just needs to move a little more. It's just really sluggish and lackadaisical.
Yeah.
It's putting you to sleep. But like it's got some good ideas here. I think combining King Kong with Godzilla has some merit to it. I think this film, like, it brings in some of the like exploitation that King Kong deals in, but it brings it in much harder and heavier. Like, I think King Kong, they put him on like a theater stage and he's chained up, but he's like, that's all you get is that one scene of him in the theater chained up, and then the people start taking pictures of it and King Kong freaks out, right? Gorgo is put in a terrible little circus enclosure with spikes around it so he can't get out. It's like a concrete pit with a little bit of water in the bottom. It's like the stereotype of a terrible zoo enclosure, right? It is, and it's there for several days just like crying to get out.
Yeah.
And like one of our main characters, we have like, a couple of main characters. One guy is our what was his name in King Kong? Jack White or something like that. I believe Jack was the first name, I'm pretty sure. He's basically that was
Jack White.
He's basically that character here, the greedy one who's like, under no circumstances can we turn back at all because there's too much money on the line. And then Sam, who was all in on the money at first, but then like people start dying left and right, and it starts to weigh on him, and he starts drinking really hard to deal with it. He starts to really regret his actions. So you have that like interesting dynamic where he has time to really realize how terrible what he's doing. Like his the skipper that they hired dies, his friend seemingly, and the monster's just crying constantly, and he could hear it the entire time, and all the other animals are freaking out as well, and he's just in that little trailer at the circus, just hearing it, all the noise.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this actually, you're talking about what this brings to the kaiju canon, and I'll tell you one thing it brings to the kaiju canon: that little kid.
Yeah.
This is our first kaiju film where there's a little kid that understands the kaiju better than anyone else around. And that's going to be a major theme, particularly in the Gamera films, whenever we get to them. But even Godzilla starts to have this eventually. They're copying Gamera, but, I don't know if Gamera was inspired by Gorgo. Gorgo did have a Japanese release. It actually had a Japanese release before it had a UK release. That's kind of funny.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's something that's being brought to the table, and this kid is actually not bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's Vincent Winter, Scottish child film actor. He was in the 1978 Superman and in Superman 3, which is funny. Yeah. He's not a bad actor at all for a child, especially. I think he does really well with the role.
Yeah. He was probably my favorite character, or at least close to.
Our Greedy Gus, that would be Joe Ryan, is played by Bill Travers, who's actually an animal rights activist, which you could kind of feel in the film.
Yeah.
He acted for a while, but this is just one of the random ones he happened to be in, because he was contracted by MGM, and this was partly, if I remember correctly, MGM was partly involved in here. Yeah, shooting took place at MGM British Studios. This film was originally supposed to be a co-production between King Brothers and an unspecified Japanese entity, which may have been Toho, but it also may have been Dai, because Dai, who made Gamera films, are also going to get in on the scene relatively soon. But then it was changed to France, then changed to the British Isles, and that's where it stayed. And then they made a deal with British Lion Films, a film company in England, and that's where they ended up with for the final version of the movie. Yeah, they're filming at the MGM British Studios, but they also get on location in London and Dublin to make those Nara Islands, which apparently so Nara Island is an anagram of Arran Island off of Ireland's west coast. So there's an actual island called Arran, and they just reversed the word to make Nara.
Okay.
But all the stuff that was on Nara Island, I think, was just filmed in Ireland itself. But we do have, despite the fact we're filming in London and Ireland and all that stuff, we do still have like our big ol' guy in a suit with miniature stuff, which is really nice. Let's continue with the actors. We have William Sylvester playing Sam. Sam is the one who realizes that they've done something terribly wrong. Typically starred in B movies, but he did play Dr. Haywood Floyd in 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is pretty cool.
Ooh.
And that's actually only 7 years away from where we're at in the timeline, so he's not too far away. That's not too far. That film's not too far away, actually. But he wasn't in a ton of films. And then we got a bunch of other people who are like, more minor players, like Kevin McCartan, the guy on the island played by Christopher Rhodes, and the professors and all those people. Most of them aren't super important, so I don't feel like getting into them. We do have Mick Dillon as Gorgo and Dave Wilding as Ogra. No Wikipedia pages for them, so not really much filmography on them. We also have Nigel Green as that newsman who was just really, really swinging for the fences and kind of missing. I swear to God that was supposed to be like a callback to the American dub of Godzilla, where they have Steve Martin, no relation to the the Steve Martin, the radio man, talking, or not. I guess he was a newspaper guy, but he was talking into his tape while Godzilla destroys the city. I think that's what was going on there. They're trying to do an homage to that, but like the difference is Steve Martin said cool shit, and this newsman said really pretentious stuff.
He sounded like he was trying to sound cool and poetic in the moment, but like the problem was that he sounded like he was trying.
He sounded like he was trying way too hard.
Like,
Oh man, it was
yeah.
rough. It was rough. But I think, like, acting wise, everyone's doing a really good job.
Hmm.
I can't really think of a bad performance in here other than that, but that's not an acting problem. That's a scripting problem. Because what was the issue was the lines, not the line
Hmm.
deliveries. Those lines were miserable. So unless he was ad-libbing those, like, I don't blame that on him. It does, like, everyone's really taking a really serious tone with it though, which I think is really appropriate for this film, because
Hmm.
this film is trying to be more like a King Kong, more like a Godzilla, and less like a lot of these American films that we've looked at. And so I think that that more serious tone helps set it in that kind of canon rather than in the, like, American sci-fi film B movie watch at a drive-in theater kind of canon.
Hmm.
But you know, it has some effects. They are a mixed bag. I think all the miniature stuff is great. I think the
I
puppets,
love the miniature stuff.
it's really good. The little fish puppets they had at the beginning of the movie were really fun. I like those a
Hmm.
lot. But man, the screening effects are a mixed bag.
Yeah.
The, there's so many screening effects, for one. There's just a ton of screening effects. For some stuff that I don't think they needed to screen necessarily, like there's a lot of screening on boats as if they couldn't just record people being on boats. It must have been like a soundstage issue. They wanted to get clean audio. I don't know. It's just like there's so much of it. Like every time they're on a boat, you can see a little bit of a blue outline on them or something, or like they're a little bit of their hat disappears or something. And it's like,
Hmm.
just film it in real life. I don't get it. But there's also screening in the kaiju scenes where the kaijus are being screened in sometimes. And even worse, I think the worst example of screening in the film, like, because like sometimes the kaiju stuff looks fine, sometimes the boat stuff looks fine, but the worst that never looks good is the rubble.
Yeah.
The rubble falling from crumbling buildings onto people looks just awful. Like it's so bad, I would have not put it in. I would have just let people can just assume that rubble is falling and killing people. I don't need to show that. These effects are so bad, I cannot show it. It's like they lit up like the scene too much when they recorded the rubble, because it's like so studio light bright when the rubble is falling, like in that scene that's overlaid on top of it, and so everything has to look a little ghosty to get the impression right. And then the angle of it isn't right either. There's a lot of problems with that, honestly, with these screening effects, where the angle of what's being screened on top of the footage doesn't work for the footage. So it looks like fucking Spider-Man with his camera hanging at a weird angle,
Hmm.
looking down at the city or something like that. It's like, man, it looks like a fucking YouTube video sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It's like, man, you couldn't do better than that. It's unfortunate. Some of the fire screening effects can also get that effect as well. That just like the angle is not quite right issue. But that's what happens when
Yeah.
you have so many screening effects. You're gonna run into some of those. Like when it comes to this era of filmmaking, I really think you should try to reduce screening effects as much as possible.
Hmm. Yeah, it's one of those tools that, like, if you need to use it, then go ahead and use it. But if you're just making up excuses for why you should use it, then maybe you should think about doing your effects in a different way.
Granted, I say this, but like in our modern day, everything is screening effects.
Yeah.
But they look bad too. That's the thing, is a lot of those movies where everything is screening effects also look bad.
Hmm.
It's very rare where a movie that is just all screening effects like that actually looks decent.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I'm sure there was some reason they did it, because it was a lot harder to do back then. You wouldn't do it for no
Hmm.
reason. But like, man, I really wish they didn't. What do you think of these kaiju, Haru?
I like them. They have a fun design. And I like the guy in the suit. Uh,
I really like their
yeah.
face. There's something about their legs I really don't like.
Hmm.
Their legs are really awkward because they made them. It really shows why a lot of Godzilla suits go for thick thighs on Godzilla, because the
Hmm.
skinny thighs just look really weird on a lizard. The skinny human-like limbs really look strange on a lizard. They also have
Yeah.
really giant knuckles. Like they look like Knuckles the Echidna. Like their hands are huge compared to the rest of their arms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like those two things are a little strange. I like maybe you should have like either like made the hands smaller like Godzilla does, made the arms thicker to match the giant hands, made the thighs thicker certainly. But otherwise, I really like the way the head shape is. I like the more aquatic design fits the British Isles pretty well. It feels like
Mm-hmm.
got a little bit of a Nessie-ish vibe to it.
Yeah.
Although I don't actually know when Nessie like became a thing. It's a relatively recent. Okay, so at least 1930s. Yeah, okay, 1933 first attested. So it would have been around in the public conscious by this point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got that going for it.
I also like the eyes on
Mm,
the kaiju.
big red orbs.
Yeah, big
And
and
they
red, and
actually open and close, which is nice.
yeah, like when the little baby was sleepy from the tranquilizer, like his eyes were like half closed, and like yeah, it was fun. And he like it made him actually look drowsy and like
hmm
sleepy.
Yeah. That is funny. The giant Gorgo on the truck where they're pull they used to look like a parade float. That one was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Gorgo parade float. I hope they use that as an actual parade
Mhm.
float at one point.
Yeah.
Because I think that was a real like thing they made. Like just basically made a parade float.
Mhm.
It looked real to me. Practical, I should say, not real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best effect from this film is definitely the miniatures though.
Mhm.
And there's like two different scales of miniature too, because there's two different scales of kaiju. So they have like the big miniatures for little Gorgo and the much smaller miniatures for big Gorgo. But they both look really good.
Yeah, and, like, as much as the screening effect for the falling rubble wasn't good,
Hmm
I love the effect of the big kaiju, like, knocking down buildings. That was
hmm
fun.
Yeah, the buildings destroy like in a realistic way. It feels like.
Mhm.
Which is nice. But even like the little Gorgo stuff, which have to make things much larger, all that stuff looked really nice too. And there was one part where Gorgo like whacks an elephant with its tail, and the elephant looked pretty realistic too.
Mhm.
It was crazy.
Another effect that I really enjoyed at the start of the movie when the ship was like being hit by those big waves, that was really cool.
Oh yeah, no, they had a pretty decent like wave pool for that.
Mhm.
Boat in the little boat miniature boat in their wave pool looked pretty decent.
Yeah.
We talked about budget last time with Conga. This film had a $1.5 million budget, which puts it on par with actually not on par, but actually like much higher budget than Godzilla had. Godzilla had a 1.5 million yen budget, which turns out
Uh,
to like $900,000 today's money. And I actually don't know if this is that then money or in today's money, so it might even be more in today's money. But yeah,
mhm.
1.5 million is what they spent on this, and that's probably where all where all those miniatures are coming out of.
Yeah.
There's also some amount of like military stock footage that they use, and I don't know if they had to license that or anything. Not sure how British
Mhm.
military stock footage goes as far as that goes. Oh, they also have the suits also have a little bit of ability to wiggle their ears, which is interesting.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they can wiggle their fin ears a little bit, which is a cool way to let them express some amount of
Mhm.
emotion. Which, considering the way the film really wants to make you empathize with the monsters more so than the people, it helps with that. Speaking of which, I think it's about time to talk about themes. That's going to be the biggest part
Mhm.
of this episode, I
Yeah.
think. Because, like we said, the film is rather sluggish, but God, what really sticks out about this film is what it has to say, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, so I guess for starters, a big theme is a similar theme to what they had in King Kong, where like if you take something out of its environment and bring it down to parade and showboat it in a big city, it's not gonna go well. And this movie played more into like the moral, like ethical reasons why you shouldn't do that, because you're literally like it's literally showing like we kidnap this baby and we're putting it in a circus for everyone to watch and poke fun at. This movie really does not like the circus.
No, it thinks circuses are evil, and they're right.
Yeah. um and yeah, just like the whole idea of like taking an exotic animal, like not even a kaiju, just like any kind of like an elephant out of its environment to put it in a cage where people can like just come see it. It's yeah, like this movie knows that's problematic, and it doesn't hide it doesn't shy from trying to get that point across.
And I think the way that it couches it ends up being a lot less problematic than the way that King Kong ends up feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, King Kong very much feels like a film less about taking treasures from oppressed people and bringing them to the, America, and then that being a bad idea, and more about bringing the people themselves, right? Taking the man, like the savage man, quote unquote, out of their
Yeah.
habitat into the city, because of the way it couches King Kong, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this film instead associates Gorgo with the treasures of Ireland instead of the people of Ireland,
Mm-hmm.
because of the way it's directly associated with like the doubloons at the bottom of the sea there in Nara Island. That other Irishman is that government man who's not native to Nara Island either, is looking to acquire. And so by tying Gorgo to that treasure, it makes it feel more like a resource that is being just taken away.
Mm-hmm.
And that also resonates deeply with Irish history. Like, if you know anything about the Irish famines, the Great Famine in particular, where England was taking so much food out of Ireland while they starved because the Irish had to pay their rent that the English landowners put upon them. So there's like
Yeah.
this history of like this early, Ireland was like basically the testing grounds for colonization abroad. And so that history of wealth extraction from Ireland to England that then allowed them to then wealth extract from America and Africa and everywhere else, Southeast Asia, the most of the globe.
Mm-hmm.
That history is carried with Gorgo because it is an Irish monster that is extracted and brought to England. That it becomes about that wealth extraction more so than taking the person, the savage person, quote unquote, again, into the modern day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do really appreciate that subtle change where they really made sure you associate it with the riches there. I think that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't intentional. I don't know if it was. Like, I don't know if the filmmakers of this would have actually realized how much difference that makes.
Mm-hmm.
But it does make a lot for me, at least for like the how strong the themes come through that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like because of that, the attack on London by Gorgo, by Ogra, I guess specifically, that's what apparently the Ogra is like the sea serpent god that defended the island in the distant past. So Ogra is the adult one, and then Gorgo is what was dubbed. Gorgo is the name given to the little one by the circus because of the Gorgon of Greek myth. It doesn't make much sense. I guess because they're reptilian. I don't know why they went with Gorgo.
Yeah, I couldn't really see the connection there.
Because like they literally explain it in the movie. It's like a reporter asked the circus man, "Why'd you name it Gorgo?" And he's like, "Because of the Greek myth of the Gorgon." And like as if that explains anything.
Yeah.
But okay, whatever, sure. But yeah, Ogra's attack on London then becomes a really powerful symbology, particularly in the way that it's handled, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
when Sam one of the men who brought Gorgo in, the one who is regretting it now, when Sam first hears that there's a giant Gorgo coming to destroy them for taking the little Gorgo, he's like, well, we should release the little Gorgo. That would save a lot of trouble, wouldn't it? And then his friend is like, no, there's money. Can't we just kill it? Can't we just kill the big one? And the military says, yeah, why not? And then they don't. And then they don't. And then they don't. At multiple points, they could have just said, okay, fuck it, release the Gorgo and been done with the whole thing. But they never do. The combination of their hubris and their willingness to collaborate with capital prevent them from releasing Gorgo, even when Ogra is destroying every landmark in London.
And like the ending is the same either way. Like if they try to fight back or not, like they can't stop this huge colossal monster from rescuing its baby. And like in the final scene, we see the mom walking away with her baby, and it's like, so we put up that huge fight to not win it, and
like
like if they had let the baby go, it could have saved a lot of trouble and a lot of lives. Instead, what happens is a lot of people end up getting killed for the same end result. And
so basically what I'm saying is that Little Gorgo is Northern Ireland and Ogra is the Republic of Ireland. And one day Ogra will come back for Gorgo, is all I'm saying. A lot of fighting for what?
Yeah.
But like I don't think that's the intentional. Like I hate to keep doing this, but like if you state something like so clearly like that, people will always go, well, obviously that's not intentional. Yeah, duh. Of course it's not intentional. Nobody actively goes out to. I mean, well, probably some people do, but a lot of people, you wouldn't actively go out and make that kind of movie. But the themes resonate that way, right? It lends itself to that direct of a reading. Like, most people don't go out and make a film with that direct of a reading, right? It's kind of hack, honestly, like to make a film with the intention of making that direct. Leaving it more open leaves more room for interpretation, which leads to a better overall product usually. But if you leave it open, then the room is open. You can make that kind of direct interpretation if the text supports it. And in this case, I guess like Northern Ireland hasn't gone over to the Irish Republic yet, but like there is something I don't necessarily like that direct of a read, but like if you read Gorgo more as like Ireland's resources being reclaimed by the Irish Republic as they got their independence not too long ago. This is 1961. So this is within recent living memory for them. That's kind of an interesting read on Gorgo. Ireland reclaiming Ireland for themselves, right? Yeah. The Irish, I guess, more so. The Irish are Ogra. They're reclaiming Gorgo, the country of Ireland, its resources for themselves. You know? So it feels like a really interesting, like, kind of anti-colonialist text, but certainly anti-capitalist. This film fucking despises everyone who is greedy.
Yeah.
even the fucking greedy little guy who just wanted to get the doubloons off the coast of Nara Island gets comeuppance. He gets stomped on by Ogra for letting those two goofuses steal Gorgo. I guess those two goofuses don't get their comeuppance exactly, but like, you know, you don't get to see the court proceedings that happen after this rampage. Although maybe the government will just give him a slap on the back, like Sam did to his friends. What is his friend's name again? Joe Ryan. Yeah. That was a little weird there towards the end where Ryan's like, okay, I was wrong. And then Sam just slaps him on the back. He's like, oh, well. Like, what? This is not an oh, well situation, dude. What the fuck are you doing? So many people are dead. But yeah, I really do think it's interesting how much the military refuses, and like everyone in the British populace refuses to engage with the idea that Gorgo shouldn't be there. The kid understands this, although even the kid prevents Sam from releasing the Gorgo because at the time it would have been a stupid idea. It would have just ended up with him getting killed by Gorgo when he unleashes him, right? Because he didn't have a plan. He was drunk. So, but barring that one instance, like the kid and Sam both understand that Gorgo needs to leave at that point. A kid understood that the Gorgo should never been taken in the first place. But other than that, like I guess some of the scientists were a little concerned, but they helped the military figure out ways to try and kill Ogra. So they're not like particularly invested in releasing Gorgo either. So like the entire British system, including like the reporters like surprised that releasing Gorgo makes Ogra stop the attack. Like the entire system is set up in a way where not only do they not want to release Gorgo to stop Ogra's wrath, it's not even a possibility that enters their mind.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you get like some occasional nods to the fact that Ireland is like suing in order to get custody over Gorgo because it was found in their fucking waters. But you actually get a line where the circus guy is like, well, that legal process is going to take a while, so you better come see Gorgo while you can. Like uses it as a selling move. It's like, this movie is really fascinating in the way it satirizes the capitalist system. Like it's actually really got some cool stuff going on there.
Yeah.
It's really powerful. That is kind of the only theme though. There's not like a ton of themes in here.
I guess another thing that this movie kind of addresses that I don't think any previous kaiju film has addressed, or if they have, it's few and far between. The idea that like the kaiju isn't just like a lone entity, like it has loved ones and people that actually care about it, or like other kaijus that actually care about it, because it's like a member of a species. It's not just like the last of its kind or whatever, which in so many cases the kaiju is like, you know, the last dinosaur or the last giant monkey, or like,
or just a mutated thing, a one-off creature.
But in this one it's like, no, this is actually like, we can confirm that this creature does actually have a mother that is gonna come and try and save it.
That's true to an extent. I guess you do have like Son of Kong, and the second Godzilla film has like a separate Godzilla that appears. But other than that, those aren't really shown as being nurtured in any way, right?
Yeah. And I guess what that does for this is that like it kind of humanizes the kaiju a little bit. So it's no longer just like an anomaly. It's an actual like living being.
Yeah, like if not humanized and like, you know, make it feel more like a living creature you can empathize with, like a circus elephant, or say, you know. It's really important for like selling the idea of the film that you feel for these creatures.
Yeah. And also I love the ending. The ending is, in my mind, super powerful, because it's like the mom does get to leave with her baby in the very end. Like it's not a kaiju movie where, yay, we stopped the kaiju, we killed it. It's a you know, like humanity isn't necessarily the most powerful species on the planet, and like the baby gets to have a happy ending.
Get used to that, because that's going to be how a lot of kaiju films go from here on out, at least from the Japanese side, I should say. Your Godzillas, your Gameras, quite frequently there's not a solution to them. They're just creatures we have to live with.
Yeah. And some who was it at the end that was kind of saying a little bit of a speech, that I think it was the reporter guy.
Yeah, it was.
Who was like saying how like I forget everything he said. It was something along the lines of like, we're no longer the number one species on the planet. Like, we have this other species to contend with that, like, we kind of have to learn to cooperate with. I think that's what he was saying. It was another one of those, like, he was trying to sound really profound.
Yeah.
But like I got what he was trying to say, and that was probably the thing that stuck with me the most about the ending was just the like acknowledgement that that we can't just use guns and force to get our way. Like sometimes guns and force, even if you try to use them, aren't gonna it's not gonna do anything. Like we get the same end result. We just have more people dead.
Again, all could have been avoided if they just did what Sam asked for and took Gorgo out to sea.
Yeah.
That's all it would have taken. It would have saved so many lives. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But then you look at the ways in which the military, like the modern military, does stupid, insane bullshit, all for like a couple of rich ghouls. And it's like, yeah, no, Gorgo is a really solid critique. This like silly, vaguely boring monster movie is a really solid critique of capital.
Yeah.
We're not the only ones to think it was a little bit boring either. It's got a lot of those ratings. The general critical response is like, yeah, it's got some good instincts, but it's just a little boring. It's got some good special effects. It actually was shortlisted for best visual effects at the 34th Academy Awards, but not nominated, unfortunately. And Leonard Maltin really liked it, so there's that. It did show up on Mystery Science Theater 3000, but if you look at the Wikipedia page, it says it influenced films like Gappa the Triphibian and Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 and Gamera the Brave. Gamera the Brave is the 2006 Gamera film. Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 is the fucking 1993 Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla film. Gappa the Triphibian is a 1967 kaiju film. I couldn't find any evidence that this actually was the case for any of these films. I think Gappa the Triphibian was the most I found evidence for. Like the closest to something I found evidence for a direct correlation between an inspiration, right? But I have there's no evidence, even in like the Wikipedia citations, as far as I can tell, that there is any influence of Gorgo over Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. But I guess it's possible, I suppose. Like I saw that and I just had to go check and see what their sources were, and like they're not particularly strong, certainly. But I wouldn't be surprised considering it had a Japanese release. Again, Japanese release before it had an American release, before it had a UK release. Because of that, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some amount of influence on it, particularly like Gappa seems like it had a little bit. So I guess we'll have to keep an eye out for that in the future. Next time we're watching Mothra, and Mothra is going to deal with a lot of the similar themes on like the way capital, takes everything we love and snaps it in two. The ways that the military and the capital collaborate with each other against the well-being of the actual people they're supposed to theoretically protect. So like we could look for some of these themes in there, although obviously these were made the same year, so it's doubtful that they had any direct influence, or released the same year, I should say. They were being made at the same time, so there's probably a little crossover. I've got some little things from my notes. There was a fun moment. The first time that the little kid Sean tells them that what they're doing is wrong, he says, "It's a terrible thing you're doing." And then the guy Joe is like, he's a terrible thing you're doing, Mr. Ryan. And then he's like, "Well, call me Joe." And he's like, "Okay, okay, Joe." And he's like, "Okay," and then he leaves. Just like completely diffuses what the kid was saying about it being a terrible thing he's doing. I thought that was very funny. Gorgo is one of our weaker kaiju, captured with shark nets, apparently. But again, Orga's a different kaiju. Ogra was able to be pretty strong in Gorgo's place. Gorgo's just a little kid.
Yeah.
There was a brief mention that the Gorgo was released from a volcano, so I guess it was like buried in the dirt but still alive somehow. I don't know what the fuck they meant by that.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Like heard them mention it, and I'm like, huh, okay.
The carnival barker actually said eighth wonder of the world, so they want to be King Kong so bad.
Yeah.
He also said, "What's that, madame? Looks like your husband," which I thought was a fun line, pretending someone was saying that Gorgo looked like her husband. Pretty good. There was one weird moment. By the way, it's weird that the kid just goes with them. I know the kid's an orphan, so like no parents to speak of, but like they really kind of just like the kid stows away with them and they just keep him.
Yeah.
But then what's even weirder is that later in the film, the boy just jumps into the army jeep, and the army jeep, like the army guy helps him into the jeep for some reason. And then they like the jeep's going into danger. Like the jeep is going towards Ogra to like help with the fighting, and they just take the boy along with them for some reason. And so Jim and Sam have to like chase down the army truck, and they're like honk honk honk. And even then they don't let put the boy down and give it to them. What the fuck is going on?
This boy just has like a free pass to everything.
Apparently, and then they just let him go, and he's just watching Ogra destroying shit. Like they let him go into the danger zone. The Blitz was mentioned, so you can also like, you know, maybe there's some things you could say about like, you know, there's actually something. They mentioned the Blitz, like, not since the Blitz have we seen such destruction. But I think the Blitz is an interesting thing here because, like, there's a lot of scenes of people panicking and, like, crowding into each other, like, to the point of near suffocation. But the Blitz is really an interesting thing there, right? Because, like, the most notable part about the Blitz is that people didn't actually panic all that much during the Blitz. So I find it interesting that they refer to that and then, like, still have all this panicking going on. I guess it's slightly different because you can actually run away from the monster rather than the Blitz, where you can't really run away from it. But I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Especially in comparison to the Japanese films where people do run away from the monsters, but they run away in a much more orderly fashion, generally speaking.
Yeah. And like, it's just, it's an interesting comparison because like we have, like other instances of kaiju representing disasters that a civilization has suffered, and like Britain has its own version of that with the Blitz. And like, yeah, you do make a really good point there that like comparatively speaking, the Blitz was a lot more like people were a lot better about staying safe during the Blitz. And like staying relatively calm. I mean, I'm
And
like
a notable part of that is like people with like mental disabilities were actually higher functioning during the Blitz, which like points to maybe some like evolutionary reasons why those kind of disabilities have managed to survive throughout. Evolutionary psychology is a little bit of a crock, but like, you know, it points to maybe there actually might be some evolutionary advantages to those kind of mental disabilities being within the society, right? But it also like just might mean that like that more regimented lifestyle of the Blitz was helping them. But regardless, like there is a certain amount of like calm that comes from people coming together under harsh circumstances.
Yeah. And like the thing too with the Blitz being mentioned, like I was just like, oh shit, yeah, this is like what year did this come out?
1961.
1961. So like a lot of people would still remember the Blitz.
Again, yeah, living memory.
And like that's gotta be a shared trauma for
I mean, like,
Londoners.
it's barely even history at that point. Like, our usual cutoff for what's history is like 15 years. It's been 16 since the end of the war at this point. So it's barely even history. It was current events.
People who were children when it happened are now young adults.
Barely.
And like grown adults are now slightly older adults. Like it's it's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's just like you expect people to panic, at least in a Western society. You expect people to panic in that sort of situation. Whereas I think Japan doesn't expect that as much, but maybe that's just because they get hit with so many earthquakes and tornadoes and hurricanes and tsunamis. I guess the tsunamis is what is the there's like a specific word for a hurricane in the typhoon. Thank you. It's like they get hit with typhoons and tsunamis and earthquakes all the goddamn time.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just like they know that people will evacuate in a much more orderly manner than what's shown in a lot of American ones, where they're like pushing over each other. Like there's still a certain amount of, you know, pushing and that kind of stuff in the Japanese films, but it's much more orderly. There's people, like military people, actively showing you where the evacuation route is. American films just don't have that kind of stuff, which I find fascinating.
Yeah.
It's so unrealistic, right? That there would be nobody there showing evacuation routes, or like that people would just be like that. I don't know. I find the greatest moments of compassion tend to come from these kind of disasters. I don't like. I'm in North Carolina. We had a huge flood. I wasn't in the I'm not in the mountains, but we had a huge amount of flooding recently in the mountains, and like there was a lot of fucked up shit from that. But the thing I remember most is really like the amount of people who came into the mountains to help people. So like, I find that interesting that this film fits in more into that American, like it is like there are Americans working on this to a certain extent. So I think that might be part of why. But yeah, it's interesting because like it is mostly British, but like one of the production companies is American production company King Brothers, right? So there are a lot of Americans working on it as well. King Brothers, for those who don't know, were a company that usually worked with blacklisted writers. They employed a lot of blacklisted writers from the Red Scare. So they're actually pretty cool. It's just like, I think this is one of those moments where it's like that American individualist culture kind of seeping in and making them because like Americans aren't actually as individualistic as we think we are, but like because we think we are, these like things turn into mass panic situations in the movies, right?
Yeah.
When push comes to shove, we actually generally often come together.
Because like that's not an American thing or a Japanese thing or a British thing. It's just like a human nature thing. Like
we're a
in
fucking
times
pack
of,
animal. We
yeah,
come in
like
packs.
in times of crisis, your instinct is to help each other. Like it, like
Maybe
if
not help the people
you,
over there, but certainly each other.
yeah, like like if you were running away from a disaster and you see like a child or like just like any kind of human, any person, any age, any gender, just like who is like injured and not able to like save themselves, your instinct is to like help them.
Yeah, like when I went to Japan a few years ago at this point, I'm the kind of person who gets a little nervous when I'm in like a big city by myself. And yeah, I like keep an eye out for potential scams or anything. But like there was like an old man who had fainted because it was so fucking hot. God damn. It's even hotter there now. God. Japan's summers are fucking miserable.
Yeah.
And an old man had passed out from the sun and the heat, and his wife was asking for help, and I just went over there and fucking helped her get him into the shade, and made sure they were doing okay before I went on my way. Like that's you just like we didn't even speak the same language. We spoke a couple words of each other's language, and that like I just was like, we got to help, right? You know, that's what you do.
Yeah, because
I don't know them, they don't know me, but I've been there. I was there for like a couple weeks. At that point, I knew a couple words. They knew a couple words of English, but we help each other.
Yeah, because the language that matters isn't necessarily the one that we speak. It's just we can recognize when someone is in a crisis and they need help, and we will do what we can within our power to help them. Like, I know that there's been a movement, particularly in the far right, to like demonize empathy and be like, if you're empathetic, you're literally committing a sin. Which, by the
Yeah,
way,
they're
you're
trying to
literally
turn it into a
not.
sin. It's crazy.
Yeah.
it's
Um,
it's not on the list.
and like, but like that, they have to fabricate that. They have to make that up because it's not in your nature to just abandon someone who is in a crisis.
Yeah, I think these are the kind of things that Gorgo makes me think about, and I think that's what makes it a little bit a little cut above a lot of other kaiju films that may be more interesting to watch. I wish it wasn't a little bit boring. If it wasn't a little bit boring, it could be such a good film. But Haru, I know you've been I know you've just been waiting. You've been waiting. I know you have been for me to talk about the comic version of this movie. Again, by Steve Ditko, Joe Giordano, and a bunch of other people. Joe Gill, Bruce Cassidy, a bunch of people. Actually, Bruce Cassidy did the novelization. Sorry. A bunch of people worked on, and again, it was Charlton Comics. We discussed this last time. Charlton Comics was a comic publisher that just did a bunch of shit. They just were pumping out comics as cheaply as they could to try and make some money. They did stuff like the Blue Beetle and the Question, and those ended up being bought by DC and brought into the DC universe. But they also did adaptations of Conga, Reptilicus, and we will be covering later, and Gorgo. And just like last time, I have a little sampling of what's going on in the Gorgo comics. Of course, the first issue is a recap of the movie. It just does the movie. This one doesn't have nearly as dramatic a change in the plot as last one. But as far as I can tell, at least, it does seem to be generally the same. But then, of course, it goes off the rails. In the next issue, Gorgo and his mother head to America, and then they fucking attack America, New York City. And then in the issue after that, Gorgo ends up on some random dictator's island, and he tries to use a giant cattle prod to control Gorgo and turn it into a weapon of destruction to control the world. And then, of course, Gorgo just destroys him, as you might expect. Actually, it doesn't seem like the mother shows up in that one. I wonder if the mother just, steps out. Nope, mother appears again in the issue 4.
She was just out buying cigarettes.
The fourth issue is a guy becomes the first man to orbit the moon, and his capsule returns to Earth. He crashes into the sea near a sleeping Gorgo and his mother, and then Gorgo befriends the Marine and lets him ride on his head, and the Marine guides Gorgo to New York City so he can return home. Weird. What a weird one. Then Gorgo fights a giant octopus. Weird. As always, these little Charlton continuations of the story are very strange, very comic books. But I don't know, they're fun. Again, I said this last time, you can just read them online for free. The website is Comic Book Plus. You could just find them on there. They're public domain, so you could just read them. They've got full scans.
We love public domain.
We do. You can also read all the funny ads in the comics as well. Here's one. Jukebox Bank plays actual real music.
I love it when
it's a coin bank, but it plays real music.
Ooh,
that's kind of fun, actually.
I actually would have wanted that as a kid.
Oh, but here's a good one. Stop stooping. Shoulder brace. It's a shoulder brace to make you stop hunching over. Who knows if it actually works or just destroys your back.
If it does work, that's going to be something I need in my current age.
God, the Ditko art is really nice, but man, I hate... So Charlton... okay, for those who don't know comics, a lot of comics have what we call letterers, or at least they had. They don't do this anymore, I don't think. They usually do digital, so they have a digital, they type it out digitally and have a cool font that makes it look like it was hand-drawn, like the old days. But what they would have is a letterist or letterer, and the letterer would literally, it's in the title, right? They would write out what was in the word bubbles and make it look nice. But Charlton was too cheap for that, so what they do instead is they just get on a typewriter and they type it out, and it looks very strange because of that. It looks very rigid in those thought balloons, which for the era just makes it look really strange. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But you get some beautiful Ditko art. God, it looks so nice. I love Ditko's drawings of these silly little monsters. They look a lot better in Ditko art, I gotta tell you. Alrighty. I think that's all I've got this time around. Next time we're watching Mothra.
I do have one final thought about this movie. I guess one thought in two parts. For one, I kind of liked how the colors popped out in this movie.
Oh yeah,
it's nice and colorful.
Reviewers actually mention the color in the film as well. So It's really nice.
And then those colors really stand out in one of my favorite shots in the movie, which was when the mama kaiju was destroying the city in the background, while in the foreground we see like a sign saying come see Gorgo at the
Oh yeah,
circus.
that's definitely the money shot of the movie for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, like the way this movie does colors just made that
Yeah.
pop out to me.
No, I agree. The colors in the film are really nice. They did a good job with making sure like the colors, the colors that they wanted to pop, the color grading is really good. I also will mention that Gorgo is one of the roars we have in either the opener or the ender of the little theme song that we have. Gorgo's roar is one of those, so you can hear Gorgo's roar, or you already did, in just a second. All right, Haru, you ready?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe to the channel on ThemPod Ian, and share the podcatcher version with all your friends. You can listen to it on any place you find podcasts. So make sure you are doing that. Just listen to it all the time, forever, and make sure your friends are doing so as well. Haru, where can people find you?
I am Haru Hayes, a puppy girl VTuber. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Haru Hayes. And hey, guess what? Guess what, chat? I finally got around to updating my Blue Sky handle. It is now haruhayes.gay.
Wow.
Took me like several months, but I did
10
it.
million years. And I'm Thempire Ian. You can find me at thempireian.neocities.org. That's my website, and you can find all my links there, including the one to this very podcast. Haru, are you ready to say goodbye to Gorgo?
Yeah.
Sayonara, Gorgo.
Sayonara, Gorgo.
And, sayonara to Ogre as well. Don't want to forget the mama.
Bye, Mama.